Guten Abend, Damen und Herren. Mein Name ist Josef Kundek. Ich war in Croatia geboren. Ach, that's enough Deutsch for today. After all, after 5 years old, my German's getting a little rusty. After serving as a parish priest in Croatia, I felt called by God to go to America as a missionary. I wrote to the Bishop of Detroit because there was a fellow priest I knew from my home area. I'd gone there a few years before. Never heard anything. Now step over here. And this is years and years later, we find out the bishop never received my letter. Got lost in the mail. So thanks to poor mail service. Well, anyways, to resume the story, I wrote to the Bishop of Vincennes. He said, come. I arrived 28th of September, 1838. He sent me to Jasper, to St. Joe, but also take care of all the German-speaking people in the area. In 1839, very late in the year, I finished my plan to start a new town and a new parish called Ferdinand and St. Ferdinand. And I'm borrowing some words from Matthias Hausfutter, who wrote that the Germans were coming in, pouring into this area like the snowflakes. There had been about 30 families, mostly to the north of what is now Ferdinand. Temple comes to mind, and what else? Kunkler, Beglin, and after 205 years, I forget the rest of them. But the parish was the area was just booming with new people. So the town was started. April the 21st, 1840 is the official date. You know the rest. And now I'll turn it over to someone who comes a little bit later, and that is Mother Benedicta Burns.
Okay, my name is Mother Benedicta Burns. I was actually born in Koblenz, Germany, and my parents moved to Wisconsin in, I don't know when, but that's where I grew up, in Wisconsin. Okay, but I entered the Benedictine community in Covington, Kentucky in 1861, that's right. I entered the convent there. 1867, I was one of 4 sisters brought here to Ferdinand. Ferdinand was only 26 years old, but brought here to Ferdinand to minister to the German immigrants of the area. I was supposed to be teaching them English. However, I knew only German, and the same with all 4 of us. So we were first ESL students here in Ferdinand, and the pastor of the parish at that time taught us English, so we would step one day ahead of the students, okay, that we were teaching. 2 days after I arrived here, the very first postulant came, so we started growing immediately. But I continued, and I became the prioress. At that time, we called them mothers, and so I was Mother Benedicta for 17 years here in Ferdinand. And I helped start, not Ferdinand School, that was going already, but I taught in the school. I started the academy that we had, and it closed much later after I died in 2000. Okay, and then I started St. Meinrad School and 2 schools in Rockport, Indiana. One of them was the elementary school, and the other one was supposed to be an academy, but it never got off the ground. Okay, then I went back to Covington, and that's where I died. All right, now this is my picture when I was young, kind of young. Okay. All right, now what I would like to do right now is introduce you to that first postulant we had. Her name was Margaret New, I think they pronounced it Nye or something like that, N-E-U, from Ferdinand, Indiana. Our very first postulant is right here.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Margaret New. I was born in 1844. I entered the novitiate in Covington, Kentucky for 6 months, and that's the novitiate that I was in. I was there for 6 months, and then there were 4 sisters that came to Ferdinand, and they found out that there was going to be a young girl to enter the community, and they were really delighted about that. They were really, really happy. I entered in 1867, and then later on I taught in Ferdinand. I taught a number of years. I was also the sacristan. And oh, by the way, when I was in Covington, I received the name Sister Mary Immaculate. And then when I came to Ferdinand, Father Chrysostom was the pastor. And he said, oh no, we need to change it to Sister Ferdinand because she is the first sister to enter from Ferdinand. So I taught at the Ferdinand Grade School, and for a number of years later on, I developed TB, and I died in 1884. And so that is my story. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Annie Meyer. I'm from Ferdinand, and I lived in a one-room tumble-down house with my sister Catherine Meyer, and we lived together until she passed away. After she passed away, I got me a vicious dog because I was afraid to be alone. Then I got me a milk goat so that I could have plenty of milk to drink. Well, I loved living at Ferdinand, but I didn't like to live alone. But I loved my neighbors so much, and they loved me because I liked to play my accordion for them, my neighbors and all my friends. Well, you know, in my younger years, I took up quilting and sewing, and I did lots of things for people just to make ends meet because I was having a rough time paying my bills. And I took in ironing for the Ferdinand people. But the problem was, I'm only 3 feet tall. So I had to stand on these wooden blocks to reach the ironing board. But I did it, and they gave me a few coins, and I made my living. But as I got older, I wasn't feeling too good. But these wonderful Ferdinand people came to my rescue, and they brought in some of their vegetables, and they were so kind to me. They came and visited me, and we just had a wonderful time. But then I got so sick, I couldn't care for myself. So the people of Ferdinand got together, and they made provisions for me to go to the Little Sisters of the Poor in Evansville. And Mr. Forgot his name. Henry Dahl. It takes a while. Henry Dahl took me, made provisions, and took me horse and buggy to the Little Sisters of the Poor. Now, and I think back on that time, it must have taken him a week to get there. But we got to the Little Sisters of the Poor, and I lived to be the age of 92. Now, they buried me at the St. Ferdinand Cemetery. So if you feel up to it, you can look for me in the St. Ferdinand Cemetery and look for Catherine Meyer. Okay?
You may take your seats. I'd like to thank our historical reenactors, sisters, Father, Annie. We'll have another set of reenactors hit on the stage after the formal wear is taken care of while the judges are back doing their business. Right now, I believe we've got the thumbs up for our formal wear category. I will begin, and then Shelby will step in with more of the female perspective with the commentary, and then we will have a question. The girls don't know which one they'll get, but that will be their question, and that'll be the last thing that they say before they head backstage. If we are ready, got the thumbs up, let's begin formal wear. First, Mackenzie Vogel. Kenzie looks gorgeous tonight in her vibrant red gemstone-studded formal.
She would love to represent Ferdinand as the 175th celebration pageant queen because she says, I aspire to be a role model for young girls and set an example for the community. I want to show everyone that they can do anything they set their mind to. If I could be queen, I would donate my time and effort to better the community of my hometown, Ferdinand.
Our first queen contestant tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Mackenzie Vogel. Mackenzie, your question this evening. If you were introduced to a new family just moving into Ferdinand from further away, what would you tell them about our town?
If a new family was to move to Ferdinand, I would tell them that this is one of the best, smallest town there is around here. Living in a small town is like living in a large family. Everyone has your back, and you know that if you fall, they will catch you. Thank you.
Mackenzie Vogel, everyone. Thank you, Mackenzie. Next up in formal wear, Gabrielle Huffman. Gabby is glowing in her sequined royal blue chiffon evening gown.
She would like to represent Ferdinand as the 175th celebration pageant queen because she says, Ferdinand is my home and all of my roots are right here. After winning Little Miss Heimat Fest in 2006, I was so happy to be a huge part of the event. It would be an honor to have that opportunity again.
Ladies and gentlemen, our second Queen's contestant, Gabrielle Huffman. Gabby, your question tonight. Who in this town of Ferdinand has influenced your life the most?
The person who has influenced my life the most in this town of Ferdinand would have to be Diane Hopenjans. She is such a great lady, whether it's working with the 175th or at Tin Lizzie's or restoring the Blueme house. She always goes out of her way to help any person, especially in the store. I strive to be a lady like her one day who will always go out of her way to help anyone in need. Thank you.
Gabrielle Huffman, everyone. Thank you, Gabrielle. Our next Queen's contestant to come out is Lauren Tretter. This dazzling red dress adorned with beautiful jewel patterns falls gorgeously on Lauren.
She would like to represent Ferdinand as the 175th Queen because she says, I am proud of the Ferdinand community. It would be an honor to represent the town that I grew up in and is full of positive growth, faith, and great people.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next Queen's contestant this evening, Lauren Tretter. Lauren, your question this evening. What is your favorite part of being in this pageant?
My favorite part about being in this pageant was being forced to get outside of my comfort zone. This is not anything I would have normally done before, and I'm glad that my grandma encouraged me to do this. Thank you.
Lauren Tretter, everyone. Thank you, Lauren. Our next Queen's contestant this evening is Sabrina Becker. Sabrina looks fabulous in her fuchsia ball gown with a sweetheart neckline.
She says, I'm a small town girl and I love my town of Ferdinand. I plan to return here after college and raise my family in this small town. To me, Ferdinand is a safe, clean, and friendly town where neighbors watch out and care for each other. This is why I would love to represent Ferdinand as the 175th Celebration Queen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sabrina Becker. Sabrina, your question this evening. What is the most rewarding achievement you have earned so far in your life?
I would have to say that the most rewarding achievement I have gotten in my life so far would be getting student council president. I received this honor in 6th grade, and I feel I've been able to help the school as well as many of my peers. Thank you.
Sabrina Becker, everyone. Thank you, Sabrina. Coming up on the center stage next is Kayla Huffman. Kayla looks beautiful in her light blue chiffon dress with a beaded bodice.
She says, I feel that Ferdinand is an ideal place to grow up and become a part of something. Ferdinand is a close-knit community in which I am proud to say that I have lived in my entire life. After I pursue my college education, I hope to one day raise a family in the small, wonderful town of Ferdinand, Indiana, so my family too can experience the feeling of being part of a town that comes together as one and builds relationships that never end. I also feel that I would be an outstanding role model for all the kids in Ferdinand. I always strive to do my best, think positive, go for my goals, and hope that it inspires someone else to do the same.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next Queen's contestant, Kayla Huffman. Kayla, your question this evening. What activities will be going on at this year's Turquoise Quincentennial celebration that are interesting to you?
The most interesting activities going on have to be the lip sync contest because it's very interesting to see the creativeness of people, and Brothers of the Brush Award, especially since some of my teachers this past year are included in it. Thank you.
Kayla Huffman, everyone. Thank you, Kayla. Our next Queen's contestant this evening is Sarah Wire. Sarah looks radiant in her fitted cobalt blue gown with a lace overlay bodice.
Sarah says, being that it is a very important year for Ferdinand that celebrates its history, I think it is important for everyone to know the history of Ferdinand and appreciate the early community members. Growing up on a farm, I have an understanding and appreciation for life in the early years of Ferdinand. I appreciate what those before us have done to get this town where it is today. Agricultural life has many joys and discomforts that will always be present, whether it is 1814 or 2015. I feel that I embody the spirit of Ferdinand. I live to serve, participate in clubs, mission trips, camps, and also in the community. I also believe today's queen needs to be a leader and step outside the boundaries set for women. Going into a field of study deemed non-traditional for women, I believe I am setting an example for other young women to pursue their dreams and not be discouraged or influenced by stereotypical expectations for women.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Wire. Your question this evening, Sarah. After you finish school, if given the chance to come back and make a difference in Ferdinand, what would you like to do?
After finishing school, I definitely plan to come back to the community of Ferdinand. One of the things I would do is implement more youth involvement in the community, whether it be through junior chairs on committees or through the youth groups. Thank you.
Sarah Wire, everyone. Thank you, Sarah. Our next Queen's contestant this evening is Leslie Blueme. Leslie looks stunning in her royal blue chiffon triple infinity formal gown.
She wants to represent Ferdinand as the 175th Celebration Queen because she says, Ferdinand is where I have grown into the person I am today. Growing up, I attended Ferdinand Elementary and have participated at St. Ferdinand Church since birth. Earlier this year, I researched Father Joseph Kundek and the foundation he laid for Ferdinand. I used this research for my term paper and the Ferdinand Historical Society Essay Contest. Ferdinand's heritage has given me a deeper understanding and respect for our tight-knit community.
Ladies and gentlemen, Leslie Blueme. Leslie, your question tonight: if you could meet any person in history, who would you like it to be and why?
If I could meet any person in Ferdinand's history, I would have to choose Father Joseph Kundek, for the main reason that he founded Ferdinand in 1840, and I would love to hear what our roots are really made of and how we came to be the town that we came to be. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Leslie Blueme. Thank you, Leslie. Our next young lady to grace center stage is Claire Moore. Claire looks elegant tonight in her rose gold beaded gown made by her grandmother, Barbara Moore.
She wants to represent Ferdinand as the 175th Queen because she says, "I have loved growing up and living in Ferdinand. It would be an honor to represent a town that has given me so much happiness and comfort."
Ladies and gentlemen, our next Queen's contestant, Claire Moore. Claire, your question tonight. Tell me some interesting historical places of Ferdinand. What are they to you and why?
In my opinion, two of the most historical places in Ferdinand, I would choose the convent and the St. Ferdinand Church. They both have amazing architecture and they both hold so much history, and whoever visits them is sure to find something interesting. I really think that they are interesting, and I think that we're great to have them. We should be grateful to have them in our town. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Claire Moore. Thank you, Claire. Our next Queen's contestant this evening is Lauren Blueme. Lauren looks lovely in her crimson floor-length gown with sequins.
She says, "For as long as I can remember, Ferdinand has always been special to me. My family roots originated here. I have attended Ferdinand Elementary and Forest Park High School, and I celebrate Mass at the Catholic Church here. Almost every spare moment of my time is spent here in Ferdinand. I plan on returning after furthering my education, and I have trouble imagining myself anywhere else. As Ferdinand's 175th celebration queen, I believe that I could inspire others to see just how special my hometown is."
Ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Blueme. Lauren, your question this evening: what do you like most about the town of Ferdinand, and why?
What I love most about the town of Ferdinand is how, even though we are a small, tight-knit community, almost like a family, we have the opportunity to get our town out on the map for all of its amazing celebrations that we have throughout the year, including the Heimat Fest, the Christkindlmarkt, the Good Old Days. All of these have made us very popular in the world. And I love that our town is able to get our name out there and make ourselves heard in this big world. Thank you.
Lauren Blueme, everyone. Thank you, Lauren. The next young lady to come on stage in our formal wear is Emily Nord. Emily is glowing in her candlelight trumpet-style gown with a sweetheart neckline and corset back.
Emily says, "I am interested in becoming Ferdinand's celebration queen because I love my hometown and I love people. There are so many great things about Ferdinand, from its rich heritage to the new events that are drawing people in to visit our town. I am excited to be able to share all that I love about Ferdinand with the people who will be visiting during the celebration."
Ladies and gentlemen, Emily Nord. Your question this evening, Emily: what do you think the town of Ferdinand will look like 25 years from now?
I think the town of Ferdinand will probably look the same, and it will be more like with people in it, and it will be more like advanced in everything it does. Thank you.
Emily Nord, everyone. Thank you, Emily. Our next Queen's contestant is Mallory Dale. Mallory looks stunning in her Cinderella and Frozen-inspired light blue gown with unique sparkle gems.
She says, I want to represent Ferdinand as the 175th Celebration Queen to learn. I believe that becoming the Queen would give me a chance to experience things I have yet to discover. While being Queen, I would learn about what it means to represent something in the best way possible. This would help me by furthering my experiences for the future. I will learn more about leadership, confidence, and responsibility. It would be an honor to represent Ferdinand as the 175th Celebration Queen because I would be representing my hometown, and that in itself is very special to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mallory Dale. Mallory, your question tonight. What future goals do you have that will help better our community or the world, and why?
One future goal that I have is after college, I would love to attend the Peace Corps. I think it would be amazing to go to a different country and help out people who really need the help to build homes. That is something that I would love to do, and I would love to bring that back to the community also. Thank you.
Mallory Dale, everyone. Thank you very much, Mallory. That concludes our formal wear category this evening. The young ladies will retire to the back while the judges will exit, I believe at stage left, to the judges' chambers where they will start to tabulate all the results. And we'll take a brief intermission, and we look forward to hearing who our queen will be. Now, while the judges depart, I want to remind folks about some of our goodie bag donors. Our sponsors tonight include Tin Lizzie's Home Decor and Gifts, the Jasper Gift Basket and Popcorn Company, Sweet Bees, Krista Wiedoff, Wendy's through the Service Corporation, Dairy Queen, Abbey Press, McDonald's, the Dairy Barn, Hettinger Beverage Distributing, and the Tri-County YMCA. We'd like to thank those folks and all of our other persons behind the scenes helping tonight's pageant go forward. I'd like to thank our reigning queen, Shelby Clem, for assisting with the formal wear tonight. And right now we have Father Alfred. You know him by a different name at his day job, but tonight he's Father Alfred, and he has his second set of reenactors coming up on stage here during our intermission. Thank you.